When Angel and the Bad Man opened to lukewarm reviews and weak box office returns, Wayne welcomed the chance to return solely to acting under the experienced direction of Howard Hawks in Red River.
Starring John Wayne and Montgomery Clift.
Only 39, Wayne was offered the challenging role of Tom Dunson, a stubborn, ruthless, yet sympathetic rancher much older than any character Duke had played before, and much more complex. Critics hailed Wayne's portrayal as authentic and gripping, and even John Ford expressed surprise at the depth of Wayne's performance.
You should have let him kill me, 'cause I'm gonna kill you. Every time you turn around, expect to see me. There's one time you'll turn around and I'll be there. I'm gonna kill you, Matt.
He often said that Stagecoach established him as a star and Red River established him as an actor. And this was a challenge for him. So it was a significant film in his career.
The character he played, the character he invented, was matchless. And again, the American persona of the man who is hard, but believes in doing right and will do it against all odds. Red River ranks as maybe the best Western ever made.
The authoritative figure Wayne played in Red River ushered in a new, more mature type of character. John Ford quickly cast him as a military leader in 2 cavalry films, Fort Apache and She Wore a Yellow Ribbon.
I think it's something, frankly, that they stumbled onto, and these created the formula that people will always remember as maybe the zenith of the American Western.
Colonel, if you send out the regiment, Cochise will think I've tricked him.
Exactly. We have tricked him into returning to American soil, and I intend to see that he stays here.
Colonel Thursday, I gave my word to Cochise. No man is going to make a liar out of me, sir.
His sensitive and three-dimensional performances in Red River and Ford's cavalry pictures firmly established Wayne as a serious actor and a big box office draw. Now able to lobby for prime roles, Wayne fought for and won the lead in the World War II drama The Sands of Iwo Jima. Duke immediately identified with the heroic Sergeant Stryker, a professional soldier who hid a soft heart behind a tough exterior.
Well, you can sit here and be tough if you want to, but I'm going out there and get that guy. And the only way you can stop me is to kill me.
That's just what I'll do.
With the U.S. at the height of its post-war power, Wayne Sergeant Stryker personified the ideal U.S. serviceman. A man with a confident willingness to take action and a fierce sense of duty. Wayne's outstanding portrayal of the patriotic Marine earned him an Oscar nomination in 1949 for Best Actor and sealed his image as the quintessential war hero. Though the Oscar went to Broderick Crawford for All the King's Men, Wayne's popularity was greater than ever. That year, he entered the top 10 of Box Office Magazine's most popular actors, rising to number 4 on the list.
He's the common man. He came up the tough way, did not have the mammoth publicity office behind that he would have had if he had been under contract to MGM, that Gable had, that Tyrone Power had. And he conquered the frontier on film, and he won World War II on film.
At the end of 1950, after 20 years in the movies, the Motion Picture Herald named John Wayne Hollywood's most popular star. The 43-year-old actor was beginning to live in the shadow of his screen image, an image that would take him places he could never have imagined.
Our biography of John Wayne will continue here on A&E.
American legend John Wayne, only on Biography. A 2-part special concludes tomorrow on A&E.
You're watching Biography here on A&E.
War II long over, many Americans saw a new enemy in communism.
Our education is proceeding apace as to how Russia operates and how they got the atom bomb.
While the country was building bomb shelters and learning to duck and cover, Senator Joseph McCarthy and the House Un-American Activities Committee were conducting an all-out search for Communist Party members.
This is the beginning of the Korean War, the loss of China to the communists. People are very terrified, and they're turning within, and they're looking for super patriotic themes, and they're also looking for villains everywhere, and we have these communist witch hunts.
Hollywood was on the front lines of the domestic Cold War. The Motion Picture Alliance for the Preservation of American Ideals had joined the anti-communist fight in 1944. And in 1949, John Wayne moved from its executive board to serve as president. Duke's heroic image and strong pro-American views made him the natural choice to represent the organization.
For the past 10 years, the disciples of dictatorship have had the most to say and have said it louder and more often. All over the world, they pour their mouthings into the ears of the people, wearing them down their resistance by repeated hammerings of half-truths. Well, that's where our crusade for freedom comes in.
They had a role of trying to cooperate with the committees by pointing them in certain directions. They had accumulated their own lists of suspect people, and everybody was on it. Wayne didn't have anything to do with drawing up those lists. He was just a figurehead, really.
In 1951, Wayne, Ward Bond, and John Ford flew to Ireland to begin production on the old-fashioned romance, The Quiet Man.
And the teaming of Wayne and Maureen O'Hara is a great combination. She was a stunning woman, and absolutely a stunning, beautiful woman, tough enough to stand up to the John Fords and the John Waynes of the world.
The Quiet Man was nominated for 7 Academy Awards, winning 3. But Wayne's performance was not among the nominations. Friends speculated that the star's conservative politics were making him unpopular with his peers. But as far as moviegoers were concerned, Wayne was still an American hero. And his next 2 pictures, Flying Leathernecks and Operation Pacific, were box office hits. While still president of the Motion Picture Alliance, Wayne was becoming less active, preferring instead to fight the enemy and communism on the big screen where he felt more comfortable. When Warner Brothers offered Wayne a producing deal, the 44-year-old star chose Big Jim McLean, the story of 2 government investigators sent to Honolulu to smash a communist ring.
He had to be more American than anybody around, in a sense maybe to compensate for not having served in the Second World War.
Moviegoers responded favorably to the film's message, and the picture was an undeniable hit. But popularity polls and strong box office returns could not change the fact that Wayne's personal life was in shambles. Chata's heavy drinking and increasingly erratic behavior had become an embarrassment to the very private Wayne, and the battles that once fueled their passion now exhausted him. In 1952, the couple separated after 6 stormy years together. Shortly thereafter, the 45-year-old movie star traveled to Peru on a working vacation, and there met a 23-year-old Peruvian actress, Pilar Palette.
I was making a movie in the most beautiful benign jungle in the Amazon. And the director one morning told me, John Wayne is in Lima. He has just arrived, and he would like to come and see us work. Well, I had no idea. I heard the name and that he was a big movie star, very handsome, very tall, but I couldn't quite place him. So, trying to be very sophisticated, I turned to him and I said, Mr. Wayne, you were wonderful in For Whom the Bell Toll. And he says, you have me completely confused. You're thinking of my friend Gary Cooper. So anyway, he started laughing. He thought I was very funny, and that kind of broke the ice.
When Pilar came to Hollywood after filming, she and Wayne began a very secret affair. And in September of 1952, Wayne filed for divorce from Chata.
She turned very bitter and decided to just crucify him. So there were court days every single day, and of course it was headlines like for weeks.
The trial became a public spectacle, and wild accusations of infidelity and abuse surfaced in the press. A calculated bid by Chata to win sympathy and a large settlement. While Duke had long since separated from his first wife, he remained a loyal and loving father. He was especially worried about the effect the negative publicity would have on his teenage children.
The breakup with Esperanza is as close to scandal as Duke really ever came. I think Esperanza wanted the divorce to be as public as possible. She liked the attention, and there's a bit of a vengeance motive there. So it became a pretty messy affair, for sure.
Throughout the proceedings, Pilar stood by Duke's side, offering a stability and serenity that had long been missing from his life. In November of 1954, Wayne's divorce was finally granted, and 2 days later, he and Pilar were wed.
He was making a movie in Kona, Hawaii, and Duke said, I just had a phone call from my lawyer. My divorce has become final. Would you like to get married today? He wanted to get married just as the sun was setting. He claimed years later that he was married at breakfast, divorced at lunch, and married at dinner.
At 48, Wayne was still the nation's #1 star. It seemed as though nothing could tarnish his all-American image. And if John Wayne's first 25 years in front of the camera had made him a Hollywood giant, the next 25 would make him a legend.
In 1949, John Wayne began a remarkable streak. In 19 of the next 20 years, at least one of his movies was on the list of top 10 moneymakers. The exception was 1958, when Wayne made just one film, The Barbarian and the Geisha, certainly one of his big flops. Throughout the 50s, Wayne's personal politics were not a public issue, even during his 4 years as president of the Motion Picture Alliance. But that was about to change. The 60s would bring war overseas, turbulence at home, and firmly establish John Wayne as one of America's most popular and controversial figures. Tomorrow, the Duke's final 2 decades. He made war movies that infuriated his critics and fought his own war against cancer. The conclusion of John Wayne's epic life story tomorrow on Biography. I hope you'll join me. Until tomorrow night for A&E, I'm Peter Graves. Thanks for being with us.
John Wayne, American Legend, is now available from A&E Home Video for $29.95 plus shipping and handling. Call 1-800-423-1212 to order. Now, guns, gangs, and government. Our current laws too lax? Bill Curtis and an all-new investigative reports uncover how criminals funnel firearms from Miami.